Next is custom order number 2. We're in for it tonight because this one is a gift for Ali, and we love the custom orders that are purchased for somebody else, that are a gift to somebody. It's super cool. Hopefully, Ali, you're watching tonight. Maybe you're not available. You're going to be watching it later in the week. Everything's saved and reposted on YouTube, so if you do get something for someone and they can't watch, you're in the clear. But this is from Felicia to Ali, and it's going to be a Bull Decanter, and with a set of shot glasses to match. And so we've already made the shot glasses in the color scheme.
Tight.
They are super clean, and they're going to match perfectly. And this decanter,
Corners on them are so square. It's so satisfying.
it's super clean. This decanter is going to be, and she actually drew up, Felicia did, a couple different drawings of pieces that she really liked, and that, to get us started on what we wanted to make. It wasn't Clint, was it? Nope.
No, Clint's still there.
So here we go. This is the shape she sent in. We're going to have a topper on it. It's going to come down like this. It's going to come down like this and flare out just a hair at the bottom.
Just a hair?
Just a wee bit. I'm drawing it kind of sideways so you guys can watch it happen, but this is the idea of the shape. We got this right here, boom, and then here we're going to have a little stopper with a sphere on top. We're going to have, it's going to be slightly Van Gogh with blue and black swirls going around the body. And then right up here.
Can you like erase the like tube in there? There we go. Okay.
Right here we're going to have a set of bull horns. And we're going to have another set, 2 sets of bull horns here and here. And this one's going to have a little ring on it.
Alrighty. Look at that.
It's gonna be intense, folks.
How do you get the gold ring on there at the end?
The gold ring, I have it all planned out in my head. It's gonna be done on a punny. I'm gonna snip it, pull it, smack it.
Wasn't sure if it was another, like a separate piece.
Separate edition.
But Jake here has a large gather of glass, and he's going for the black color line.
Now she wanted some clear in it too, some transparency so you can see the liquid that's in there, the beverage that's being decanted.
All right, that's cool.
So I'm covering up a lot of it, but I'm using those specific lines because this is just the core. This is not enough glass to make that full decanter. So I'm going to put a little more color, but these are both really bold colors that you don't need too much of. And right now, watch this move.
Oh man. Now there is absolutely no bubble in this, guys, so him mixing this up causes no damage to the pipe and won't really like affect much of it elsewhere. But he's gonna have to really squish that. That's all kinds of funky shape, man.
That is pretty funky right there, and I know that it's gonna be tricky because they're both soft colors. When I blow it out, it's gonna be crazy, but that's why I only put a little bit of color on there so that when I do gather over it, it equalizes all the temperature and I will be able to blow it out. But for now, I gotta squish it back together, symmetrize it.
Symmetrize. That's a word, totally, right? Can I get a...
Symmetrize. Not gonna do it. But
He gave up.
you all know what I mean. A cool thing that'll happen too here is if I swirled it up just right, we may get a few cool little galaxy bubbles around each little piece of color trapped in the inside, and that's a really cool look. But you can see briefly there the kind of swirlage we got going on.
Really can't see it in there. It's glowing too hot. It's too spicy. Can't take the heat. There goes the bubble.
Love the questions. But yeah, what I was saying is the bubble. Right now I'm blowing air through my thumb. I captured my breath in the pipe.
Now you can see the base
Here it comes.
expanding just slightly.
That's the moisture in my breath expanding from the heat of the glass. So now it's a hollow bubble. That could be used as a light bulb if I was able to knock it off, but that's not the case.
That's a really big light bulb.
So let's see as it's cooling down if we could focus on the color at all and see it maybe. Give it a little tap on the screen. There's some serious swirls going on in there of that blue.
You can almost see straight through to the other side.
Well, I
And
sure
I can
hope
see
so.
that
A little
bubble
transparency.
kind of towards the tip now too.
Awesome.
And Jake right now is doing a strip gather, I think, into the
Thanks.
furnace. So that same technique of like stripping it off and like dripping it off into that bucket earlier, he just did it into the furnace this time. So it stays nice and hot in the furnace we can use later.
That's kind of a forearm buster, but That's what I've got this super heat reflective watch on for.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm very purposefully pushing this glass around to shape where the thickness of this decanter is going to be right now.
I know we can't quite see where it's going, but you can kind of see that outline a little bit, guys.
I know the girls
Really?
can see the outline too.
I can see it, I know. But I've been staring at glass for a hot minute, so.
More than a hot minute, a screaming hot minute. You will see that blue as it cools down towards the end. It's going to look really good, and the black will look really good as well. I couldn't have done that swirl pattern at this point. I couldn't have done it on the outside after I get the bubble, because I totally lose the integrity of the bubble. It's very important that I've gathered over it now, and it really gives it a beautiful glassy tone to it as well.
And he's blowing some air.
Just want to
Swinging
see
it
where
out a
that
little
bubble
bit,
is really
stretching
going.
it. And he's cooling off the tip of this so that we don't blow through the bottom of it. And now, Jake is just elongating it here.
It is nice having a drawing right there so I can remember as I'm doing it. Below.
We got Michelle on blowpipe, pushing some air through. And Jake is using
Good.
the jacks as a brace to force the air towards the bottom.
That is sweet looking.
And it's working out for him pretty well.
Below.
He
Good.
did hang it down, so it did elongate a little more, and now he's actually putting the jack line in.
What is the jack line?
The jack line is what we call a brake line or a cinch bar or a cinch line. But essentially the jack line is the line in the piece just off the end of the pipe or off the end of the blowpipe so that you can effectively break it off without breaking the entire rest of the piece.
I want to get a little more heat up top here because if you look at the drawing, take a peek at that one more time. You see how high that shoulder is? I want to get that shoulder blown out all the way up top. So a little extra heat from the torch. Exactly.
Right here. He's trying to get this nice tapered jack neckline right here.
And then I'm going to, as Michelle's blowing it out, I'm going to push down extra hard on that bottom portion so that I'm keeping the air from expanding over there and letting it expand out near the pipe. It's a tough move because it's usually the coldest part, but you see it's flopping right now. It wants to move. Blow light. Good. That's it right there.
It's kind of almost like he's trying to make a wine bottle.
Blow. Good. That did it.
It worked. It worked. Yay.
It worked perfect.
All right.
That's a hottie. Beautiful transparency in it. I think that was the right amount of color. You're going to see the blues, you're going to see the blacks, but you're going to see the liquid inside of it for sure. So now we've got the whole body shaped up pretty darn good. But look at how I'm going to be focusing the heat just on that very bottom portion. Marcy and I did this quite a few times when we were doing those prototype recycled cups where if I get the rest of the body hot and it's moving around and I try and squish that, Michelle's going to paddle the bottom of it. It'll just push the glass up into it and make it a squattier and squattier piece. So if I let that top part solidify and get really hard and stiff and just heat up the very bottom, you got to be patient, you got to take your time on the heat. When you think you're done, do a little bit more. Then I'll be able to squish it, and it'll only squish that bottom to a nice 90-degree crisp edge, and that's something I look for in technical glass blowing. You see a glass blower that can make a tight, crispy edge.
We did manage to do that with the shot glasses pretty well.
And the shot glasses look good, too.
Yeah, I'm proud of those. They look tight.
Yeah, those are sweet.
Those are
So, I like to cool
about
it down
to
so it
German
doesn't
say hello.
indent too much down there. Okay, squish on. Oh, look at how crispy clean. Just
It's
a
getting
little more.
pretty square there.
Squish off. Beautiful.
He's going to give it a slight puff to kind of push that bottom out a little bit.
And we're going to do I don't think we need a Maurice actually. It's pretty darn solid. So let's just go for a nice thick punny. Just like that one on the counterweight. Is there a counterweight up?
There is. There should be.
Awesome. About the same size as the one Marcy brought for the
Just
scepter,
chunky.
like that big. So that went really clean. What?
All the chunk.
All of the chunk. That's what we want, is all the chunk. Can you, now that it's cooling down a little bit, could you show them this angle that we're talking about? That strong, straight side right here. It's super clean. It came out great. You see that heat?
Not zooming.
It's coming out really good. And I do notice this thickness down here. We've got about a 3/4 inch thickness on the bottom of the decanter, and I'm loving that. It's actually something that's really difficult, I've found, to keep the thickness on the bottom of any vessel you're doing, because it's hotter where there's more glass. So when you blow the bubble out, it wants to blow out into the hot mass. So I was really focusing on cooling it down there, and this is the perfect thickness for a decanter.
Yeah, you'll be able to set it down without worrying about it chipping or anything. That'll be really nice.
Yeah, when you're 15 shots deep, you don't have to worry about setting it down and breaking the thing. What do you think about 15 shots, Mom?
Yeah, you
She's
know
like, no,
how I
never.
feel about 15 shots. Wheatgrass shots, ginger
Oh,
shots,
look at
ginger
this
and
pony.
lemon.
Oh, just the juicing shots.
Thank you.
All the juicing shots.
I haven't had a wheatgrass shot since I was like 5.
What?
You're
I'm
missing
willing
out.
to try it again.
I could go for Jamba Juice. That'd be
Yeah,
fun.
just as long as you're not on an empty stomach. That'll.
Oh, that's treachery.
Yeah, it's not
Look at
good until you're used to them again.
How many of you guys out there
Do wheatgrass shots?
do wheatgrass
Yay!
shots?
Be my friend.
Let's hear it. All right,
Unlike the tequila shots,
we're on there good.
It's still a plant.
it
How's
is
that
still
feeling?
a plant.
It's
I'm
just a
ready when you
different
are.
kind of plant at that point.
Beautiful. So I got it now. We're going to be finishing up the top of it first. Then we're going to apply the bullhorns on there.
So we'll let Marcy do this because she's worked with Jake. She knows what to do. Applause, applause, applause.
Oh, that feels amazing.
Battery is at 23%, but we'll squeak it through the end of the show.
Perfect timing.
Okay, so if you watch show 143, we did this really cool bourbon glass, and it was super cool. You can scroll back in Facebook and you'll see some pictures of it. It's on the snack on YouTube. However, the claw that we used to put away the glass was not preheated and it cracked it.
Yeah.
So Way and Chris is out of town, so we couldn't remake it. So we did pick the cool Galaxy glass to substitute for that one. So Wheel of Names will happen in just a few minutes. We got Sam ready at the helm. She's got our cool Wheel of Name graphics that she'll pop in when the time is right. Sure looks like a cool transition and fade of color. Catching the trim so it doesn't fold in on itself. Voila.
I'm going to give it one more shot here, but we've got an issue.
You need a tissue?
I might need a tissue because we've got this large bubble on the outside, larger than I had planned for, that is pretty darn thin and not doing so well.
You're saying in the body of the piece. A little hard to catch when it's spinning around, but in the vessel side. So, there's a little case in point that sometimes it doesn't turn out exactly like you think. And so let's pause here a second.
See that right there?
Oh, yeah.
That's paper thin right there. And when I went to swing it out there, it's sunk in here completely, and I don't think it's going to make it, really. And I'm not going to put a bunch of horns on it and then have it pop or have a big crack in the side of it. So,
Time for Wheel of Names?
time for the Wheel of Names, folks.
All right, so Jake's gonna get the tools and equipment ready that he needs to make the next one.
Here comes the treachery.
Oh, having to say goodbye. Ooh, into the bucket it goes.
That's tough, folks. That's not like one of those pieces that falls on the floor and there's a big explosion and everyone jumps and it's like, oh my goodness, that was like a slow burn and that was not fun. So That's okay, because I know I wanted to flare the foot out a little bit, so I'm going to make it a little bit different on the second time around and set myself up a little differently, but that's just a bummer. But you make it better on the second time, and that's what glass blowing's all about, is learning each time. And for Ollie, you're going to get an even cleaner one on the second time around, that's for sure. It's a good thing we didn't put all those horns on and then find that out after the fact.